All right, boom. We're back.
We
Before
are,
blow up, I almost forgot to start recording again, but we're back. Um, we
dude.
had some technical difficulties last time, but
This
I
man,
don't think you even would have noticed on the episode, to be honest. Like I edited them out pretty well.
he didn't record half of the episode.
Half is a long shot, maybe a third, but no, this time we're recording, and yeah, we're good to go.
Hell yeah, baby.
Do you want to give a bit of a rundown of what the episode's gonna look like? It's a bit of a different one.
I reckon we just get into it, bruh.
Yeah. All right.
Look
Well,
at that.
yeah. I mean,
Give it a little rundown. Let's just do it, man.
all right.
We're men of action, dude. Let's just get into it.
Yeah, all right. All right, you go.
Righto. So today, I guess we're gonna talk a little bit, give more of a bit of a background on Isaac as an individual and as a musician, and eventually come to the point on starting the podcast of Before the Blow Up.
Yeah.
So Isaac, what's your middle name? James?
James, yeah.
Isaac James Staines.
Yes, indeed.
Why did you want to become a musician?
I don't know. I think it's just one thing that I when I was very young, I was always able to play like music. I started playing drums when I was about 3 or 4, I think, and then about 11 or 12 years old, I started playing guitar and started singing. I could always kind of hit notes and that kind of thing. And then around 11 or 12, that's when I started to think about, okay, what do I want to do in life? And then I started writing kind of some crappy songs, and I was like, yeah, I want to be a musician. I want to do that. And I've literally stuck with it ever since, to be honest. It's about 11 or 12.
Fair enough. So, so prior to being 11 or 12, sort of, what did like life look like for you? Your family life, your home life? Like, I'm sure you didn't just become like, be known like, I want to be a musician and just pick up a guitar. Like, sort of, what was the path, I guess, to that? Did your parents push you in a direction? Did did you just find something on the internet and be like, Mum and Dad, can I do this? Or or sort of what was your directional push into to your stage of becoming 11 and 12 and deciding music was the go?
Yeah, I think that I had a very natural progression into what I wanted to do. I remember mum obviously is a piano teacher, and dad could kind of play drums. And so when just growing up, and my uncle as well, like he's a brilliant musician, and I think that just growing up like that was a very it was very natural for me to go straight into the like I was very naturally gifted at music, and I'm not naturally gifted at a lot of things, like I'm not very like I can play sports, but I'm not like overly sporty like my little brother, or but I was just from the get go, like I just had that gift of music, and obviously I'm very appreciative of that. But I remember there was one day when I was sitting on the lounge, and I was also very into basketball. Like even though I wasn't naturally good at it, I did like it. But it was one of those things, like I loved basketball more than basketball loved me, really.
I think
Whereas
that's a lot of people's career.
yeah, I think, but like music is the quite the opposite, I feel like. But I remember I was sitting on the lounge, and I was just thinking to myself, what do I want to do for the rest of my life, kind of thing. And I was like, as corny as this sounds, I remember thinking, oh, I could go to the NBA. Even though in hindsight, I'm like, I would never have made NBA, not in a million years. But or I could pursue music, and I was just like thinking there one day, and I was like, music, and
Fair enough,
yeah,
yeah.
and I just chosen from then onwards. I've just done
Did,
it.
did the muso thing.
Yeah, it's been a journey, but yeah. So that was pretty much, I think, just before I moved to Wagga,
Yeah.
and then for my 13th birthday, which was my first birthday in Wagga, my parents bought me a semi-acoustic guitar. But yeah, you asked about like home life and how that was, and I didn't like my parents have always been so supportive. Like I genuinely think I have the best parents, but um, they're not the type of people to be like just be, I guess, yes men just because we're their children. Like they will be honest and upfront about things, but yeah, they've been so supportive. But yeah, I don't know.
That's sick, bro.
Yeah,
That's gangster. So, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't prepare any questions.
horrid, horrid.
But I'm frother man, so I just go with what's coming off the dome. So, bringing back to 11 and 12, that's kind of when I met you. and
I was a bit after, I reckon.
a bit after.
Yeah, maybe 13.
Yeah, so I met you around that time, within a few years.
Yeah.
And when I knew you then is when you were making a lot more money than me as a 13-year-old because you'd busk on the streets. What got you into busking, and like why did you busk on the streets in Wagga Wagga?
Busking. Yeah, I mean, busking was very, like, it was a very natural progression to, I guess, the next step for me.
Okay, so what was the steps from I've got my semi-acoustic guitar from my parents. Now I'm gonna busk.
Right.
Like, what's the stepping
It was,
stones?
it was very, like, I got my acoustic guitar this week, and then, like, a couple of weeks later, I'm straight into busking.
You're
I
busking.
busked.
Could you play it within a couple weeks?
No, I already knew how to play guitar, so I had a semi-acoustic. Someone gave me a semi-acoustic when I lived in Narromine, and not a semi-acoustic, just a normal acoustic guitar. And someone gave me one when I lived in Narromine, and I just learnt to play a couple of chords and stuff on that. But yeah, I've always been like a hard worker, so I just sat down and learned guitar fairly quickly. And that's why I'm saying, like, I think that was a gift to be able to naturally do that, like, anyway. But yeah, so once I got my semi-acoustic guitar for my birthday, I I knew that the next step is busking. I just was like, yeah, I need to learn how to make money off this. And so, like, even though it wasn't like crazy, it was, I guess, above average for most people my
Dude,
age.
I didn't even know what busking was till I met you.
Yeah, yeah. But to be honest, I was raking in some coins, but
Give us figures. What was 13-year-old Isaac raking in?
well, so I busked for 3 years straight, generally twice a week, sometimes 3 days, about twice a week usually,
Mm.
and I would busk only for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and I'd usually get around $200 an hour.
For a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Dude. When I was 13, I was mowing lawns for $5 an hour to save up for a mountain bike.
I mean, I'm so thankful that I was blessing that I could that was my
Well, it's,
financial state at 13, but
yeah, bro, you would have been pimping the people. Everyone would have been coming to you at the school canteen. Isaac, can you shout me
nah, no
something?
one knew. No one
No one
knew.
knew.
No, I kind of just like kept it quiet.
Rich but humble
No,
at this
I
13.
don't like,
That's
but
like a six-figure salary for a 13-year-old.
6 figure salary, yeah, right.
For a 13-year-old,
Well, it's a couple $100 a week.
I could not imagine that.
But I just bought music gear. That's the thing. I didn't have a lot of like cash. I just bought music gear with it.
Yeah,
Like,
fair enough.
I built up my collection, I guess, fairly quickly.
Do you still have stuff from then?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of bought new gear since then, but I still have the gear, yeah.
Do you still busk?
No, haven't busted in a long time.
Why?
Because gigs make better. Like, the hourly rate for gigs is better. And, like, busking is just, like, I feel like I'm a bit old for that now. Not that I couldn't. Like, I could go and do it. I just think that it's just, I always just look at things as the progression to the next thing. Like, busking was just the next.
So
gigging was the next progression from busking.
so you thought if you'd go out busking now, you'd just feel stagnant?
Yeah, I think I would be bored so quickly.
Yeah.
Because no one, I think that for me, the enjoyment in gigs is people watching my gigs and being there to watch what I play. And I think that being, like, if I was to just busk and just standing kind of in the street and everyone's just walking by, yeah, I don't do music for the money. That's the thing. Like, yeah, the money was great, but I don't do music for the money. I never have, and I never will. Like, yeah, the money's cool, but like, I enjoy playing music and I like people listening to my own music. So
Yeah, no, that's sick. So I guess we've gone from busking. When did you land your first gig, and what was your first gig like?
that's a good question. So it was
These are good questions. These are the dome, bro.
so when I was busking, as I said, I busked for 3 years straight. So from when I was about 13, or maybe 2.5, and then I was about 15 and a half, I think I landed my first gig. So I was busking on a Wednesday afternoon. It was Wednesday afternoon, fairly dead afternoon. I think yeah, and this guy walked past me, and then I saw him walk past again, and he came up to me, and he had this, and I've still got it. I've still got it in my room. He had this cardboard, the back of a cardboard box, or like some wrapping off a cardboard box, and he'd written on the back his name and his phone number, and then it was called Cave Barbecue, and I still have it. I have it in my keepsakes at home, and he gave that to me. He said, "Oh, love your sound. Would be keen to get you to play on a Thursday night," and I'm like. And
Mint.
well, I actually thought I was like Thursday night. I can play Friday nights. That's what I thought. I was like, I need to be playing Friday and Saturday nights when people are out. But I was like, yeah, I love to play Thursday nights. And I was like, yep, that'd be awesome. So I was super keen. And then yeah, I just started playing gigs there maybe once a month at Cave Barbecue in Wagga, and they unfortunately closed down. But yeah, that was my first gig.
Obviously, it didn't generate enough business, mate.
No, no, yeah, my bad, my bad.
Oh, that's sick. So is that what you're still doing now? Just gigging around?
Yeah, I mean, mostly I just gig around like probably 2, 3 gigs a weekend kind of thing, and yeah, actually probably more sometimes. Like 3 gigs a weekend is about the average, and then yeah, I mean, I'm making my music. I released my first single. When was it? January? No, I don't even know when it was. I released it 2022. At the start of 2022 is when I released my first single.
How old were you then?
Or it was before I turned 17. No, 18. So I would have been
17. Is
17.
that Heroes Have Shadows too? Is
Yeah.
that the first one?
Yeah, yeah. Released Heroes Have Shadows 2 in, I think it was February maybe or March. I don't remember, but it was just before I turned 17.
Yeah.
Sorry, just before I turned 18. Sorry.
Are we able to like do a snippet on the thing, edit one end?
Yeah.
So this is where you hear a snippet of Heroes Have Shadows too. So yeah, that's the song. Or at least a snippet of it. What was the inspiration? What was the inspiration? Why did you write that song?
So I actually attribute that to my dad. Like I was I was actually in Kiama, so like really close to here, and he said, "Oh, you should write a song about heroes having shadows too." And I was like, yeah, that's a cool concept." I wrote it down on my phone, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll think about that." And so then, and I was going through like a very personal situation at that time, some family things, and it the situation that I was going through fit perfectly with the title of the song, and I'm like, okay, I should expand on this a bit more. And so yeah, just expanded on that a bit more. Started writing with a friend of mine, and he kind of co-wrote it with me, I guess. But
Who was that?
Rue Malandu,
Rue. Can't say I
Brunya.
know Rue.
Anyway, so we did that, and then recorded it at home. And mind you, before all this, I'd probably recorded 3 songs, and never released them because
Will they ever come out?
no, they're not. Firstly, they're written poorly, and then secondly, I just went through producer after producer, and I was like, no, I don't like any of these. Not producers, but I don't like any of these sounds. Like, the producers are really lovely people, and they make good music, but they just didn't fit my sound, and that was okay. Like, but I eventually got onto through a bunch of different connections, got onto Woody, who's my producer now, and
Is that the guy you go to in Melbourne?
yeah, Woody in Melbourne. So he produced. He mixed my first track. I produced that all at home, but he mixed my first track, and then and so that was good. And then at the end of 2022, I went to Melbourne for 5 days to record an EP. Yeah, and so I had 5 songs written. Went to Melbourne to record an EP, and then once once I recorded the EP, we got all the songs mixed, and then I didn't release it for a long time. I didn't release it till mid 2023, and I had them done before, like well before the end of 2022.
Yeah, right. What was the delay for?
There was like a lot of personal stuff that I was tackling, like some, I guess, some demons that I had to beat, and I think that that was just taking up a lot of my emotional and mental capacity at the time, and I just didn't have time to kind of. It's not that I didn't have time; I didn't have the, I guess, headspace to
Drop.
calculate what that had, like what that meant by releasing the album, because the EP, sorry, because releasing an EP is very different to a single, whereas now, like releasing an album, which is what I'm about to do, is very different to releasing an EP.
How so?
Well, I think that people, like, you look at singles and like, yeah, the singles are good. You look at an EP, yeah, an EP's cool. Which I just look at it as an EP as a couple of singles put together. Whereas an album, I feel like, is just a story. Like an album is just a story, and it tells this, paints this picture of whatever you're trying to convey. And for me, I mean, for me that was, I guess, heartbreak. Yeah.
Yeah. So is an EP just like a bunch of singles like sort of whacked together? Is that what you say?
Not
And an
necessarily.
album's more like a storyline going through it.
Well, an EP can be whatever you want. Like any of these things can be whatever you want it to be. Like an album could be just a bunch of songs put together, but I think that if you were to do it well, an album definitely is not just a bunch of songs put together. But an EP an EP is very flexible. Like some people think an EP is 3 songs. Some people think it's 6 songs. I just did 5 for mine. I think that was kind of a good number. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, mad. So you've got this producer in Melbourne now.
Yep.
You've gone down to Melbourne to record the album.
hmm
Did you obviously talked to them over the phone before you went there, yeah?
Yeah. Well, I've known Woody for a while now. Like, again, since my first single, and so yeah, I've just known him, and we've got a good relationship, and he's very straight to the point, and that's what I love working with, and that's why I think we work so well as a team. So
So what was it like first time going down to record in a studio with a producer you get along with and like create? Like
w-
what's it like to you to create music?
okay, well, I didn't like. I think there's 2 questions there. So what was it like going down to record? Because I went to Melbourne to record my EP, not just my album, but my EP. That was an unreal experience. Actually, I got a funny story about that.
Go
So
on.
So when I was in Melbourne recording my EP for the first time, I was I was probably one of the middle days, and I went out to go get some lunch. It was And I said, "Oh, what do you want some food?" And he said, "Yeah, can you go to this place to get a bacon and egg roll?" I'm like, "Yep, no worries." Walking down to this place to get a bacon and egg roll, I just see this guy run past me, and he's just breathing. And I'm like, what is that? Tall bloke, maybe 6'6" or something, real tall. And he's like skinny. And like he runs past me like grunting really weird. I was like, that's so weird. And I see him run into a tobacco shop. And I'm like, what's this guy doing? And I turn around and I like kind of trace back a couple steps. And I just see this guy run into this shop and jump over the counter and just start beating the shop owner's head.
In Melbourne.
Yeah, this was
Nah.
and this was in the middle of the day. It wasn't even at night. This was in the middle of the day, broad daylight.
Dude.
Jumps like kind of like just like I don't even know how to explain
Do
it.
you just freeze in a situation like that?
Oh, I was just so confused. Like I was just like, what is happening? And like he jumps over the counter and just starts just going to town on him. I'm like, what? And the guy's screaming in the corner of the tobacco shop, and then this other bloke runs in and just like grabs him, reefs him off, and throws him over throws him over the counter, and then the guy grabs a box of nangs.
Names.
Nangs. Grabs a box of nangs and runs. Oh, he also like vandalized, like just push stuff over, and
Names.
yeah,
That's so like
yeah.
oh,
It was so bad, and this guy's head was bleeding and everything. Like it was crazy.
and he took a box of names
Yeah, it took a
that
box.
you could just buy from
Yeah,
a
but
shop.
he looked like he was on something. He was on meth for sure.
You reckon
Yeah.
names just seems so like not even sketchy. The word's just not in my head. It's like skanky.
Yeah. Nangs are, bro, drugs as a whole anyway. But um, yeah, he just, yeah, and I was so confused, and like but it happened so quick. Like I was like walking back as it was like happening. Like I was because I walked up. I kept walking a bit further, and then I just heard screams, and then I started walking back, and then by the time I got in there, I just saw the dude reef him off, and then this other dude started like screaming like get out of here, and then so then he ran, and then me and this other guy that was probably like my age at the time, we were kind of just picking nangs up off the ground and putting them back in the box and putting them in the shop. It was gnarly. It was
Dude,
funny. It was gold. But yeah, that was like an insane experience. I was like,
that's pretty out the
whoa.
gate.
Yeah, like, and I was like 15.
You
Oh,
ever know what happened to the other dude? The dude who like robbed the shop? That's crazy to see a robbery like in
yeah,
broad
broad
daylight.
daylight, just ran, kept running. Yeah, it was 16 at the time, and I was like, first time, like, I was just like, I had no, like, I was in Melbourne on my own, and my parents weren't there. I was just like, whoa. Like, it was like a reality check.
Yeah, that's out the gate. Yeah, did you ever find out what happened to him?
Nah, no. Never heard anything from him.
That's
That's pretty funny.
fair enough.
Yeah, yeah,
That's,
it was
so did you end up getting a bacon egg roll for your
yeah, I
for
did.
Woody?
Yeah, yeah. And a gnarly story to tell him after.
Yeah, fair enough. So back down to Melbourne, you've witnessed robberies
Yeah.
and everything. How what was your first studio experience like?
Yeah, I mean, my first studio experience was like unreal. Like, it was insane. 5 days recording 5 songs. It was just so sick. Like, we had a drummer come in. Like, even though I can play drums, we had a drummer come in because I think it's important to kind of get that input over time.
Mm.
And yeah, so we had a drummer come in, and I played all the guitars and the bass and sung, and I got my mum to play the keys at home for some of them, and then for some of the synths and stuff. Yeah, but it's actually the studio, and so this is a funny coincidence. The studio that I record at called Red Door Sounds in Melbourne. Shout out. Um, but Red Door Sounds in Melbourne was actually the studio that Vance Joy was recorded at. Oh, that Riptide by Vance Joy was recorded at.
Ah.
And
So is your producer the same as?
no, so the guy from Vance Joy actually came to my producer and was like, "Oh, can you re-record this song?" And my producer said no to him, and he said, "Oh, you can. My assistant will do it for you." Got his assistant to do it, and billion streams later, like that's where Riptide's at. And the coincidence is that and Woody always tells me he's like, "Oh, biggest regret," and I'm like, "Oh, it's tough, but no, it's fine. Hopefully," I said to him, "Oh, hopefully we can make a track that's like similar level. Me and him will make a track that's similar level
True.
to Riptide." But the coincidence was, Riptide was this song. So when I was in school, when I first started really like pursuing music, I played in a battle of the bands, and I won. Me and my band won the battle of the bands, and we sung Riptide. And I was like, that was like the first song that I played, like one of the first songs I played live.
Beast.
Yeah, so the coincidence is crazy. But going back to your like question before, on what is it like creating music, like, and how I do that. I think that it's a very it's a very emotional process for me, and I'm very much like, I think that it's been a bit difficult lately because I've tried to control my emotions so much that it's hard for me to access like emotions that I need sometimes. So I think that I'm still like kind of working out the balance. But in general, I kind of um use my emotions, and all my songs that I ever write and not write but will ever release, they all mean something very personal to me. That's all something that's happened to me, and something in my life. And so
Do you ever think if you get so successful and your life doesn't become easy but cruisy, you'll not have things to write?
I do think about that a lot, and I think
Because you're like, all my songs come from me like emotionally and stuff. Like, do you ever think you'll eventually get through all the heartache and not have anything to write? Because you can only recycle so many love songs, you know.
yeah, yeah, I think that that's something that I think about a lot. Like, I'm like, oh, I don't know if one day I'm just gonna be like out of songs to write, and I think that's just one of those things that I've just got to cross that bridge when it comes to it. It's like,
Fair enough.
I don't know, and maybe that's the wrong way to look at it, but
Do you find you struggle with it now? Because obviously you've just broken up with your girlfriend,
yeah,
and and you're you say you're not feeling like emotional about it enough because there has been a bit of time that's passed. Do you
Yeah.
are you struggling to almost tap into that like not heartbreak energy, but like that the emotions that you had where you wrote the song out of something pure instead of having to look back and you're feeling like there's not that pure emotion there? Is that when it's hard to write a song?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much as soon as I broke up with her, like, by the way, it's not like the situation was, just so everyone knows, the situation kind of like I would have rather not, but for you know, there's some flags that you start noticing, and you're like, okay, no, I gotta. And even though I didn't want to, that's just what it had to be. So, yeah, I after breaking up with her, I literally wrote like 7 songs. And I already had a couple of them written for this album, but I wrote 7 songs, and within a few weeks, I'd made demos for them all, and then I was going down to Melbourne to record. Like, the process was like that, where generally, like, when I write songs, it's like I sit on them for like a year, whereas these ones were like, nope, so quick. But now, to answer your question, now I ended up scrapping 2 of the songs in the album, and so I'm trying to go back to where I was in that I guess emotion, and having to go back to that place where I've kind of taken the time to emotionally process everything that's happened, and I'm getting over her. I guess I think that was um, that's been a bit difficult to write an extra 2 songs to replace the ones that we've taken off. If that makes sense, like
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I think that yeah, it does. It is hard sometimes, but is what it is, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I can understand that. Like, I can, I can see how it would become hard to write without, I guess, an emotion. Do you ever think you would? Now, here's a question:
Yeah.
when you're in a relationship, do you think you'd cause dramas to
Ooh.
create an emotion to write something good? Like, I listened to a podcast with Joe Rogan and David, what's his last name?
Cho.
David Cho,
Yeah.
and he says on there that the the art, like the transcendent art, the mystical art that no one can be recreated, all came out of pain.
Mm.
And he was wrestling with, can you still make that transcendent art and like transcendent art that's on a level, art that cannot be recreated, but while being happy? Because he said that transcendent art comes from pain.
Yeah, I don't
So,
know.
so I guess there's 2 questions in one there. Would you, if you did get in a relationship with a girl, do you almost self sabotage just to write good stuff?
Talking about self sabotage, song on my album is actually called Self Sabotage, and it's probably my favorite song on the album. But that's not why I wrote that song, by the way. It's not like I just created the drama to just go and do that. No,
Oh no, for sure.
but
But
yeah, I mean, I think that for me, I don't go out of my way to purposely create drama like that. I don't need drama in my life. But there comes back to the thing, maybe I do to write songs. Maybe I do need drama in my life, which is probably a bad thing. Like, um, and I don't know. I heard an interview with Adele, and Adele wrote her whole Heartbreak Hello album or whatever it's called, 21, I think it's called.
after her divorce,
No, no, no,
no.
no. So she wrote that after a heartbreak, and then she got married and didn't release any music for years. And then when she got divorced, that's when she released a new banger album. And so it comes back to your point, like,
Can you make that transcendent? Because
yeah,
that album is one of for the ages, correct?
yeah. Well, both of them are like, oh, her first one's iconic. Like her second one's got some absolute bangers on it, like huge songs. But like, yeah, like both of them have come out of pain. Like
But do you think she could have written music like that if she was happily married?
I think it depends on the person. Like, you think about some of like Ed Sheeran's songs, right? There's a lot of his like Perfect. Like that's probably his biggest song. Is not about pain. That's about love.
Mm.
And
But it's an emotion.
yeah, sure. Yeah, but your question was, does it have to come out of pain? I think that for me at the moment, I I struggle with writing happy songs, which is a bad thing. I think I need to. I think it's just going to be part of my journey, learning how to write songs using the emotion of like happiness, I guess, like a happy emotion, or yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oi, oi, come here. Hello. You might be famous one day, dog.
Come here, Zoe. Oh.
Oh. Yeah.
Come here.
Look at the camera. Zoe,
Cat.
look. Oh. Right, down, Zoe. Do you reckon you could ever release an album where all the songs are happy? And do you think it would be anywhere near as good as the songs that were written out of pain?
I could definitely release an album that is happy. Yes. Do I think I just never you never know like what song's gonna be better than the other. I think it's just like a.
But personally,
I think I'd release a very fun album. Like I'm very like happy is like a like I don't like using the word happy. Like happiness is a weird word for me. I'd rather use the word like joyful. Like
why don't you like using the word happy? What correlation does that have to you that you don't like to use the word
no,
happy?
I like to use it like oh that makes me happy, but happy's not like I don't do things to make myself happy. Like
Mm.
I do things to make myself joyful, but I think joy and happiness are very different like emotions.
Explain.
I think that happiness is short term and joy is long term. That's kind of how I think about it. Like there's nothing wrong with happiness either. Like I'm not saying that I'm never happy or anything like that, or I don't do things to make myself happy. Which like I do things to make myself joyful. Like I don't know. I just think happiness is a weird word. I think that I find joy out of the tough times as well sometimes. Not like if I was stuck in a rut forever, I wouldn't like that. Like don't get me wrong,
You
but
would want to be
yeah,
stagnant. Yeah.
but
I don't
but
think anyone
I
wants to be
think I find
stagnant.
joy in getting out of that state. And so I think if I was always happy on because I think that that's a problem with the world. Like everyone's just doing stuff to make themselves happy now where it needs to be you need to sometimes weather the tough times, like that saying, um, weak men create hard times, and then
Hard times create strong men create easy times. Easy
easy
times
times make
create weak
weak
men.
men. Yeah, that. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I just don't like.
It's the same as your great grandfather walked 10 miles to school. Your grandfather walked 5 miles to school. Your dad caught the bus to school. You drove to school, and your grandkids are gonna be driving a Ferrari to school.
Sure. I mean, I guess.
I think I got that completely wrong. I
Yeah.
definitely butchered that,
Yeah.
but it's along them lines.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I just think that going back to your main question, like I think that yeah, I could definitely write a happy song for sure, but I think that I'd rather write a joyful album than a happy album. Like I could write love songs on there that aren't like
Didn't get your heart
pain.
broken.
Yeah, they're not painful love songs. Like I think I could make joyful songs, but then I could also make like some groovy kind of ones. I
Yeah.
do that, yeah.
How would you say you built confidence within your area of expertise? Because what you do, you entertain people.
Yeah.
So like you're up, if you're up on a stage or you're doing a gig and you mess up, like obviously everyone's gonna know that. So there's pressure on yourself to not mess up, and I guess there's an expectation on you from other people to not mess up. How do you deal with that?
I think it's just down to I've done it so much. I've played hundreds of gigs, so it's like I've just done it so much. I think that I've just practiced so much and done so many gigs that I think that entertaining people and not stuffing up are very different. Like, yeah, I can entertain people and not stuff up, or I can not entertain people and play a good like set still. Like what I play could be good music, but Could I be entertaining? No. But I could also, I'd rather be not as good musically and entertain people than not entertain people and be like
Better
insanely
musically.
musical.
Yeah, I feel like that's fair enough.
Yeah, like I, to go to your question of how I built confidence doing that, it's just the hours that I put in. That's all it is. Like putting hours
Just
again and again
reps,
and again and again.
just repetitions,
Mm,
just reps.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
No
that's
substitute for reps, baby.
no, no.
So what's your craziest gig story then?
Oh, that's a good question. So I've got so many. I've got so
Or just
many.
do like the most insane thing that's happened at a gig?
Okay, so I was playing in this town near Wagga called Junee.
I played a bunch of footy there.
Yeah, have you?
Yeah, for rap. Rap
Yeah,
for Karen Magpies, baby.
right. So I was playing this town named Junee. I'm not going to tell you where I played, but I was playing. I played there once before this gig, and it was so dead. It was just such a dead gig. There was no one there, and I was like, "Oh, mate, this is gonna take this is just gonna be a long gig." Like, yeah, I was getting paid, but like, that's what I was saying before. Like, I'd rather have a good crowd and less money than more money and a dead crowd. Like, it's just so much more entertaining when people are there. And there was like maybe 5 people at this pub, and I'm like, it was a Sunday afternoon. I'm like, why did they even get me here on a Sunday afternoon? It made no sense to me. And I was just like, oh, well, I'll do it anyway. So I am playing this gig, and then yeah, I played the gig, and it was a very dead gig. But then I played there a couple of weeks later, and so I turned up to the gig. And I see a couple of dudes sitting around a table out the front, and these dudes were just yelling at each other like, oh, I'll effing beat you, all this, I'll drag you in the gutter, you dog, all this, like, swearing their heads off at one another. And I'm like, what's going on here? But they were just sitting at the table like it was just a joke or something. I was like, oh, whatever. Get my gear out of my car, set it up. I I ended up playing like 10 minutes into my gig. About one of the dudes from the front. There was pretty much 5 people sitting around this table, but it was two of the dudes that were arguing.
Mm.
And so one of the dudes comes in and he's just swearing his head off. He's like, mate, this guy's an effing pedo, all this stuff. I'm like, whoa. And eh,
That's pretty gnarly. But if you actually get called like, I mean, you probably could have been, for all we know. But if you
yeah,
get, that's fighting words, man.
yeah. I mean, and mind you, like these dudes are like 50s. They're not young dudes, and they look rough. They got tattoos on their heads and their arms, and like they just look like they had rough lives. And I'm like, anyway, so one of the dudes comes in. He's like, man, he's an effing pedo. He's talking to kids, all this stuff. I'm like, whoa. It was full on. And then the guy that he was accusing came in and was like saying, mate, I'm not, all this stuff. And then he walks into the bathroom and I'm playing my gig and he was in there for a good 5-10 minutes. And I was like,
Did you really stop and just watch?
like they were what? Like, he asked me if they watch my gig.
No, no, like, did you almost like
No, it
stop?
wasn't that sketchy. He just went into the bathroom and then I see him come out like 5 or 10 minutes later. Like, okay, and then they go again. They're like, mate, I'll take you outside, you effing dog, all this stuff. And there's a security guard in there, and he's like telling the boys like, don't do that, all this stuff. Anyway, and so, and then like a couple of minutes later, this other bloke comes in, and he was the friend of the guy that was being accused of being a pedo. And he walks in, and he's like, "Oi, I heard you saying that he's this and that," and then they're like yelling at each other, and like, and so it was pretty much the guy that's getting accused of being a pedo and his friend. So what had happened was he called his friend while he was in the bathroom. That's why he was in there for so long. And so they ended up saying, "Oh, let's take it outside then, take it outside." And so I'm playing, and when I tell you, everyone empties out of this pub. There was no one in there after they all just like got at each other. And there wasn't that many people in there anyway. It was a Sunday afternoon, 10 people maybe. Everyone empties out. Like, not even the bar staff are in there anymore. It's just me in that whole pub. Like, I have a video on my phone, and it's like, I'm like looking around, like, there's no one in there, Josh. Like, no
you
one.
just played it yourself then?
I know, I stopped. I was like, I sent it to my friends. I was like, mate, there's no one in this pub. And so then, they're outside, they're yelling at each other. The security guard's kind of between the three. And then I hear them yelling and I see them pushing each other and they start throwing. I'm like, oh, they're actually throwing hands now. And so I look out the side of the door and they're there, just they're starting to go ham. I'm like, oh mate, and so, and there was like kids and women, like women and kids around. Like there was only a couple of dudes, and so me, the security guard was trying to stop the three of them on his own,
Mm.
and so then me and this other dude were like, okay, that's enough. We gotta like chill, like we make him chill out, and so I started walking over with this other dude to like try and break them all up, and then I just see a right over like a right overhand coming to the guy that was accusing the other guy,
Mm.
and um so the guy that was accusing, so the guy that was being accused, I just saw it just it was slow motion to happen, just bang his fist, and he hits the guy that was accusing him straight in the temple, and he falls and hits his head on the gutter, and his face was like all covered in blood, cut open, and he's knocked out like a sack of potatoes, went straight down into
Just
the gutter,
cold.
cold, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was
Just
like,
sucker punched him.
no, it wasn't a sucker punch, but it was like 2v1, so you kinda.
Yeah.
And so I like this is when I was like walking over to like, and I just see it happen, bang, straight sack of potatoes into the gutter. His head hit his head, bleeding everywhere. I'm like, you're kidding, and I was like, that's crazy. So I
That's
help.
very gnarly because people can like. That's how people died from that
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
yeah, it's crazy. And I help him up from the gutter. I'm like, mate, you're all right. And he's like trying to fight him still. And then there's like five cars backed up the road, and they're like screaming. And like one of the guy's girlfriends is screaming, "Get in the car! Get in the car!" Like kids, all this stuff, crying. It was crazy. I was like,
Did the cops show up?
no, no cops,
No cops showed up.
no. And I was
Bloody,
like,
bloody
what?
Australia, mate.
Yeah. And I was like, what is going on? And then and so. And yeah, pretty much then the two dudes, they just dipped. They just went away. And then the guy that was accusing the other dude came back into the pub, helping him clean up with some like tissues and whatnot. And then he's like, "Oh, can you play me a song?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And I was like, "What do you like?" And he's like, "I love Shawn Mendes." I was like, "This guy's the roughest looking dude." I'm like, "All right, mate." I'm like, "Yeah, I can play." And because his face was still covered in blood, I'm like, "Mate, I'll play In My Blood for you." Like Shawn Mendes. And so I crack it out, and he's like so attentive. And then in the middle of it, gets up and walks out. I was like, "What?" This guy was the most random dude. And then he comes back in like 5 minutes later, and then the other two dudes come back. I was like,
Who've been fighting.
"Yeah,
Even the dude who was knocked out.
no, no, he was the one that I was playing to.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, copy.
yeah, and yeah, the two dudes. So the guy that was being accused of being a pedo and his friend, the bathroom dude and his friend, they both come back in brand new clothes, acted like nothing else happened, and they were just sitting in the pub together. It's like what? Like the three dudes just acted like nothing had happened.
Well, I
Like
guess
it was
they.
legit 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, maybe.
It's kind of like a good story because I guess that fight, they
Mate,
sorted their stuff out, and then
mate,
they can sit at the pub and have a beer together.
mate, it was crazy. And then like they came in for 5 minutes, and then when they all left, everyone else left. Like, and I'm telling you, I was not playing.
Did they just
I
sit
ended
and
up
chat?
finishing the gig early because there was no one.
Did they end up just sitting, chatting, having a beer with each other?
No, they just left. After they came in for a beer and then left, like one beer and left.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it was the weirdest. It was so weird. It was gnarly, bro, gnarly.
Yeah, that's pretty out the gate.
Yeah, I've got so many weird gig stories like.
That's good though. That's like honor. That's like honor.
Nah, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It was the weirdest vibe. They came back, acted like nothing else had happened.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely,
Yeah.
definitely crazy.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's a gnarly gig story, dude. That's proper out the gate. Have you ever traveled the world?
That was the worst segue. That was the worst segue. We're keeping that in. That was the worst segue. I mean, I've been overseas, yes. I haven't traveled the world.
No.
Worst
Okay, I
segue on
do.
the podcast.
I know you've been to America. Okay, I'll say. I know you've been to America. What was America like? Did you ever perform in America?
No, I don't think so.
No?
No, I wasn't that old. I was like, that was just before I started, or it was like just as I was starting doing gigs, I think. I think I was 16 when I went to America.
Did you ever move over there?
Yeah, for sure.
perform?
I'd move there.
Really?
I'd move there in a heartbeat.
I
Like,
would
if
not
I
move
could,
there.
if I got the visa, I'd move there next year.
Really?
Yeah, you would move there?
Nah, no way.
Why not?
Because I lived the life in America.
Yeah, but no, you're in DC in the sketchy parts. You could live there's some sick parts in America.
Oh yeah, but just the things I've seen there, it's like pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Just for me, seeing like, because I went there and I was like jumping over the gates and jumping on the trains,
Mm.
and after I jumped onto a few trains because I had no money and couldn't afford a Metro card, I'd jump onto a train and be so laxed, I'd like wave at the security guard and he'd wave at me as I jumped onto a train
Yeah.
because, like, I just feel like the people there are on edge.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but everyone's got guns, that's why.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, like, for me to jump a gate here, like, not scan your overcar and jump onto a train in Australia
Mm.
is like, well, you could get a fine and, like, someone's going to confront you about that.
Yeah.
But in America, it's not worth the security guard's life to confront you about jumping onto a train.
Yeah.
So he just lets you do it, right?
Yeah.
It's like that. Like, people I found people were like, until they realize you're not a threat, they're super hesitant to talk to you, don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's a lot with that country that they need to sort out,
Yeah, right.
to be honest. Like, I wouldn't want to move there, to be honest. Just like, it's supposedly the most free country in the world, but I feel like the people there aren't free.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. I mean,
Just from what I saw as well, just like,
yeah.
because I was homeless.
Yeah.
And I'd sit down on the side of the street and I'd be 100 meters away from another homeless person
Mm.
a girl who's like probably in her 50s walking around with a cane and
Yeah.
reliving, talking to herself a whole situation that probably happened. That's why this is the dog. That probably happened years and years ago and she just never got past it.
Yeah.
Like, she's not free. She's not getting any medical help.
Yeah.
She's on the streets at night talking about, oh, my husband's missing. Almost having a conversation with, I heard it over and over for like 3 days of this lady talking at the bus stop, just crazy about how her husband never came home to the police. Having a full conversation with the police, waiting for replies, everything, just reliving this scenario out in her head. And I'm not saying that's because of guns. I'm not saying that at all.
No. I don't think.
But
like,
I'm just saying people are on edge there, and it's just the country as a whole, I think, is not doing the best. Of course, with homeless people. And it's even worse in LA.
Oh yeah.
When I went to LA, that was even worse.
Mm. Yeah, I mean.
Because they don't know what to do.
Mm.
Like, they're stuck, and they almost have no real issues. I feel like a lot of the issues are created amongst themselves.
Yeah, right.
But
as in America.
Yeah.
Well, just to clarify, you weren't saying homeless people.
Oh no, America. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, I was in Atlanta, and when I was in Atlanta, there was this lady. We were coming out of the Hawks game, NBA game, and we were walking out, and we saw this lady crying on the sideline. She had a bleeding head. We were like, "Oh, mate, what's going on?" And we thought she was homeless, but I don't know if she was homeless or not. But we were like, "Oh, you all right?" And she was like, "Oh, I'd just been beaten by this guy," and it was like, it wasn't even that late. It was like 10 o'clock maybe,
Mm.
and it was like,
Oh yeah. Well,
in the middle of.
they can get in trouble, but a lot of them just scrape under the radar.
Yeah.
Because there's so much like I feel like, if you're just a county sheriff, and you go to a really sketchy part of the neighborhood, right? And all you have is a little taser and a pistol. You can knock on someone's door and they can be fully strapped. Like multiple guys can fully strap. Like, I don't want to say it's not worth their life, but like, people are scared.
Yeah.
Like, people are genuinely scared there.
Yeah, for sure. But like, yeah, with this lady, she was terrified. Like, and she was like, "Oh, I've been beaten by this guy," and and I was like, "What is going on?" And then like, she's like, "I'm cold." She had no like, it was like middle of winter, and she didn't have a jacket or anything. And like, my dad gave her a jacket, and was like, "Just keep that one." And then, and so when we were talking to her, I see this guy walk past us, and he had a bag on the front of him, and he had his hand in his bag. I was like, "Oh, that's sketchy." Walk like, yeah, walks past, and then I noticed him. He had sunglasses on. It was the middle of the night too. I was like, and then he walks past again, and I'm like, oh great, and he just had like this smallish bag on the front. He had his hand in his bag, and and so and then he walks past and he was just waiting up on the corner. And then I said to Dad, and I'm like, Dad, this guy's walked past us twice. And then he walks by again. I'm like, Dad, that's three times now. This guy's walked past us. And Dad was like, all right, we gotta go. And so we had to get out of there, but we reckon it was probably a pimp or something like that, like an actual pimp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sketchy. It was yeah, it was crazy, and so that was like eye opening to see like the states. But I mean, yeah, like I've been to the states and there's bad homeless problem there as well. But then like, I mean, I went to Nepal when I was like 12 or 13.
So you have traveled the world a little bit.
A little, but not like I wouldn't say I've traveled the whole world. Like yeah, but yeah. So went to Nepal when I was 12, I think, and that was like we went on a missions trip over there, and that was really cool. And yeah,
What
but
was Nepal like?
Nepal was like a beautiful country.
Yeah.
It's like some of the tallest mountains in the world. We needed to hike there once.
Everest is
Yeah,
there.
Everest. I don't know if Cape
Annapurna.
Annapurna. I went so um
We got really into mountain climbing once.
once. We're still in no. We need to do it. We need to do another one. But yeah. So like I went to the base of Annapurna.
Mm.
And they're just huge, like huge. I went to Kathmandu, Chitwan, Pokhara. I don't know if I think I went to one other place, but I can't remember. But yeah. So I went to a lot of places in Nepal and helped out in a child care center over there that the church I go to works with,
Mm.
and yeah. So that was like it was so cool. Like I was with my whole family there, but and not to say that we didn't like that was such a cool experience, but like we also had like did some really cool things as well,
Yeah,
like riding elephant, did that,
that's pretty gnarly.
and the craziest thing, paragliding.
Yeah.
Paragliding is sick. We jumped off. I can't remember.
No, it's like one way, I think, between like skydiving, paragliding, whatever the other one is.
No, not parasailing.
The one that you jump off the mountain
Yeah, yeah,
with like the sails
yeah. I don't know what it's
and you're
called.
like in a big seat.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think paragliding is like where you die. There's like heaps of deaths paragliding.
is there?
Yeah, yeah, look it up. I'm
True.
looking it up. I swear that I remember I saw a statistic of like paragliding is like what you do if you want to die.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. So
Maybe who knows? I could be wrong.
yeah, no. Well, I paraglided off the base camp of I can't remember which mountain it was, but it was a massive. And so we just all six of my family we were strapped to some random person, and they just jumped off the mountain. Like we had to run and jump off the mountain, and then like
Jumped off Annapurna.
I don't know. No, it wasn't. We didn't jump off Annapurna. I don't know what mountain it was. I think it might have been, but
Do you want to just see how many people die paragliding?
yeah, sure. But yeah, my little brother was 6 when he did it.
That's loose. That's so. I guess Nepal's pretty loose with that stuff.
Yeah, it was crazy.
16,850.
16,000 people died paragliding.
Oh, hang on, no, this is a flight count. Number of deaths and injuries according to the type of flight.
Mhm.
So this is back in 2011.
Yeah,
Single flight, number of deaths.
we were double
So you're a tandem.
tandem. Yeah,
5 people have died tandem.
a year in 2011. That's
Yeah.
not that many.
Yeah, but
It's not even that bad.
33 were injured.
Nah, it's fine.
Yeah, actually, it's not as.
It's not
gnarly
that
as I thought.
bad. Yeah.
I thought it was like death.
No,
No,
it's
you're
not bad.
actually safe, so it's all good.
Yeah, no, it's calm.
Paragliding's safe.
No, but it was actually jokes because the
It's not
guy.
safe to the 5 people that aren't still with us.
No, the
I'm
guy, the
sorry.
guy that I jumped off with, he was singing to me the whole time. I believe I can fly. It is. He looked like Eddie Murphy, a Nepalese Eddie Murphy. That's what he looked like, and he was just like,
Nepalese
he
Eddie
did,
Murphy.
he did, and I was like, he just would not stop singing, like for like 10 minutes while we're up in the air. I believe I can fly the whole time. I was
That's
like,
so good.
it was so funny, but no, it was sick. But yeah, so Nepal.
We should go. No, we should go to Iceland.
We go to Iceland. We should go everywhere,
You
but
need to learn to surf before we go to Iceland.
yeah, true.
Like, get good at it so we can actually go surfing in Iceland.
I'm never on the coast.
Huh?
I'm never on the coast.
Well, now you can
Now
be
I
because I
can
live
be.
here.
Yeah, but
But we're going surfing after this.
yeah, yeah, I went to Thailand as well, just before or just after I went to
You've
America.
been to more places than me.
Have I? No, no way. You literally went all over Europe, Canada, US as well.
Yeah, but I haven't been to Thailand or Nepal.
Yeah, but that's two places. You've been to like half European countries. I haven't been to Europe at all.
Yeah, I haven't done really any Eastern European countries.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I
so
want to, though.
did Thailand with the family's friends just as like 2 week getaway kind of thing. It was pretty good. But yeah, that's how
How
much.
old were you when you went to Thailand?
It was the same year I went to America.
You know, I just picture Thailand. Have you watched The Hangover?
Yeah,
Hangover Part 2?
I haven't seen part two, just part
Where
one.
they're in Thailand?
Nah,
That's how I've imagined Thailand.
well, I gotta watch it.
It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, no, it was just like, just yeah, it was pretty. It was just a nice resort. It was nice. Yeah, but
Loose, dude.
yeah, that's where I've been to.
I know one of my friends from TAFE, he did a trip to Thailand,
Yeah.
and he said he had the worst come down from Thailand. He just did drugs.
Oh mate.
He did drugs and just paid to get with girls because they were real cheap.
Yuck.
I know, it was really gnarly. He actually has a podcast now.
Are you gonna shout it out or
Nah, nah,
don't shout it out.
because I don't know if he wanted me saying that.
No, I mean I didn't do any of that because I wouldn't do it anyway. But I was 16 at the time as well. But I did
Oh, loose.
did
Apparently
break
it's
into the pool
gnarly.
though.
He broke into a pool.
Yeah, well the resort pool I closed at like 10 and it had water slides and stuff there. Me and like a couple of our friends and like a couple of my siblings, we just snuck into the pool and they had security cameras all around as well. But we just did it anyway. Snuck into the pool. And then went down the water slide a bunch, and it's just like there was no one in there. It was middle of the night. It was banging. It was
Yeah,
banging. It was
that's
good.
mad.
Good times.
Yeah, that's why we should go surfing on full moon.
I can't even
Night
surf in the day.
Yeah, true. No, we'll get you on a boogie board, man. We'll just get you out on a book.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It'll be sick.
But yeah, that's how I kind of like. I've been to a couple of places. I want to travel more though. But yeah.
Yeah, it'll be skits. So we've gone to all these places, seeing, I guess, all these different things, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And also just seeing how broken the world is. How do you keep God in like a central part of your life while in like an industry where God almost isn't? Well, he's there, but
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think that yeah, the music industry definitely is degenerating. Like, not just the music industry, but the world as a whole is degenerating. But especially the music industry, and I think that I I think it's my calling to bring, I guess, godly values to a degenerating world. Like values such as like truth and accountability and direction. Like some of those have been very much lost lately. But I think I've not always done a good job of, I guess, keeping God central. Like I think that I've not gone off the rails, but like, but like not gone down the right path a few times. And I think that that's like part of most people's journey. But I've tried my best, and I think I'm in a good spot at the moment. I just think for me, it's just about finding humility in what I do. Like it's
would you
not
say you're a humble person?
that's it's like if I was to say no, then like I try to be. That's what I say. I try to be. Like there's times where I'm definitely not humble. Where I'm like, okay, no, I got to keep myself in check there. and there's other times where I'm like, yeah, but I try to be. I think that I can always be better, but yeah, I think that keeping humble and giving glory to God is what's important to keep Him central in my life. Like if I just think it's all me all the time, then it's not gonna benefit me as much. I guess
Yeah.
as blessing and obedience. That's what I say.
Mm.
That's a key. That's something that like as of lately as well has been like very a key cornerstone thing. There's blessing and obedience. That's what I always say to myself. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean yeah, if that
Do you
answers.
think there's a difference between gratefulness and humbleness?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you reckon?
Well,
How would you describe them? Like, how would you? What's the difference between humbleness and gratefulness? Then, because I feel like they're very, very similar.
they're similar. I don't think they're that similar. I think that
I don't know.
being grateful is like you're just thankful for things. Like you're like, okay, well, thank you. I think that I think that
Well,
gratefulness
that's like
comes
being
out of humility.
humility or humbleness.
Humility is humbleness.
Is it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it is.
You sure?
They're the same word.
Oh.
Humility is being humble.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
um, um,
I left school when I was 15, man.
I
Give me a
think,
break.
yeah, no, I left when I was 16. Humility comes out of humbleness. Sorry, humility comes out of gratefulness, and gratefulness comes out of humility. I think they go hand in hand, but I don't think they're the same thing. I
Yeah,
think that
right.
I think that humility is very much like it's not me doing this. It's kind of like it's I guess God doing this, right? And like
Oh, you can not believe in God and still be humble.
yeah, but yeah, for sure. But like I guess I guess being humble under God is being different. Like I think there's different levels of being humble. Like there's like humility under God, and then there's humility under yourself. Like, okay, well, yeah, I didn't like. Oh, it's a blessing that this has happened. If I don't believe in God, then I'm still thankful that this has happened, and you're not like arrogant within yourself. I guess you're kind
Mm.
of yeah.
Okay, that's interesting about talking about arrogance. Um, I mean, to be the best in the world, I guess you have to have some arrogance.
Well, that's
But
can I go into that? So
yeah,
I was talking with someone literally like a week or two ago about because I was saying to them I feel like I how do I stay humble with wanting to be the best? I always said that, and there's a Bible verse I can't remember where it is, but it says yes. So in John 15 verse 8 it says when you produce much fruit you are my true disciples, this brings great glory to my Father. So if I'm being lazy and not working the hardest I can to be the best, that's not bringing glory to God. And so doing those things is bringing glory to God. And as long as I'm humble and saying it's not me, it's God, then being the best at a certain thing is
but you still got to have confidence within yourself.
oh yeah, but confidence and arrogance are different. Like
I think there's a very
it's a fine line
yeah.
for sure. But I think confidence and like arrogance is goes hand in hand with being obnoxious. Like I
Mm.
think that I think that
That's
arrogance is
quietly confident.
I think that arrogance is obnoxious confidence.
Mm.
I think that
Mm.
but also arrogance can be like arrogance can be a filter for low self confidence as well. I think like people can
So it's like a facade, you reckon?
yeah. I think it's facade. Often I think it's confidence that's it's obnoxious confidence. But I think that being confident, I've not always been confident. Like in like I really struggled when playing sport. I guess like with confidence. Like you would be the opposite. But like you wouldn't be confident going to play a if you had to play in front of a couple hundred people, you're not going to be that confident. You're going to be like, okay, crap, what's going on here?
Yeah,
Because you're not prepared for
I'm
it.
making a fool of myself
Yeah,
here.
but I was like, I used to be the same with sport. Like if I was playing a sport, because like my dad and my little brother are they're so naturally talented at sport. I was like, oh, okay, I need to be good. But the reality is, sport's not what I was made to do. Like I do it for fun, but I don't do it competitive. Like I play on a Wednesday night like Div 2 men's league, but I don't play rep or I don't play for New South Wales or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm just playing just for fun, and so I think that how I find confidence is the work that I put in. I know that it just comes back to grinding and putting in that work to know that I have worked hard for this and I've been gifted with this. That's where I get my confidence from, not from just simply saying I'm the best. I've got to back it up.
Oh
And
yeah,
in
for
that
sure.
being said, I don't think I'm the best yet either. I'm
Mm.
planning to be the best one day. I want to be the best songwriter of all time. Like I'm saying it here first. I want to be the best songwriter of all time, and
That's
it'll
good, bro.
it'll happen. But again, it's not for my glory, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
It is though.
but it is, but it isn't at the same time. Like that's it comes along with it, but that's not why I'm doing it.
Yeah, okay.
And it's hard to wrap your head around that. That's something that I've been like not struggling with, but like thinking about for a long time, and wrestling with. Like, is my glory versus God's glory? You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that that's just been something that I've been thinking about for a couple of weeks now, and
Mm.
yeah,
Do you? Because I know for me, when people doubt me or tell me I can't do something, that's like my big get up and go.
yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
You don't reckon?
No way. No, I do that all the time, bro. I love proving people wrong.
Oh yeah, but do you think that's glory for yourself or how or
No,
glory for God, proving people wrong?
I don't know. I don't know. Like I can't say for sure. I think that like I think that I'm still how I think about it is when I'm trying to I guess give glory to God, like it's always there anyway because I'm Christian, like I'm trying like it's just subconsciously there. And so sometimes like if someone says, "Oh, I'm not I'm just going to like you can't do that or whatnot," then I can push back on that, and that's okay. Like it's not like I'm saying, "Oh, I have to get the glory for myself." It's not what I'm kind of
Oh
saying.
yeah, for sure,
Like
for
I think
sure.
it is still like I think it is still. I don't think it's arrogant or anything like that. No way.
Yeah.
If people, bro, people are gonna hate, and the people that are hating are always doing worse than you.
Oh yes and no,
How so?
because I know a lot of people. So I have two short-term goals.
Yeah,
One of them, it's kind of just a goal. It's kind of recently, but I want to ride Red Bull Hardline track in Tasmania,
yeah,
which is it's like it's the biggest dirt to dirt jumps in the world
far out.
on a downhill mountain bike track, and it's invitation only. And one of my friends that works there, who also just got back from a World Cup season, doing no better than me. Well, he's a bit quicker than me, but I guess where we are in like that sort of thing, I wouldn't say he's that much better than me. Like he's doing technically better than me, and he's like, "You're not gonna be able to ride it," and I'm like, "That's just putting the fire in my
Yeah, but
belly."
I think that's hating. Like, you do think that's hating?
Maybe a bit, but I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Also, some people, I'm skinny. Like when I was overseas, because I was like homeless for a bit, I
You
lost
were homeless
weight.
for like a couple days. It wasn't even like a week,
Yeah, it was a week. It was a working week. But I came home 55 kilos,
bro.
left at like 63, because I'm not big, I'm not tall. But I
Yeah,
left at like 62 kilos, got home at 55.
yeah,
And because I was so skinny overseas, everyone, like heaps of people would be like, and I couldn't afford a gym overseas.
yeah,
Everyone was like, "Oh, you don't work out, you don't train, like you need to train, like you need to get in the gym, this and that." I'm like, I swear, but like you can't tell because
yeah,
I got so skinny, and I've started putting weight back on, and I saw another mate in Tasmania, and I'm like, I'm back training in the gym. He's like, "Oh, don't know about that," like just being like, "Oh, you're still so skinny," and I'm like, "Oh, dude." I see you next week going to the gym together. I'm like, just like that. It's like, I'm not getting down and negative about it because, like, that's kind of, it's almost a positive thing
Yeah. No, I
that
think that.
they give you crap. And
Yeah, no, I use that as a motivator a lot, so I get that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that's arrogance. I think that doing that is building confidence.
yeah,
I don't think it's arrogance at all.
that's why I'm gonna ride the Red Bull hard.
I think that if you were to like go and say to them like if you started getting up all in their face like, oh, watch me do it, all this stuff, you gotta yeah, and like you're like getting real annoyed at them and like you're in their face saying, oh, watch me do it, like it'll happen, all this stuff, like say that to yourself, and then once you win,
Do
just
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
not get in their face, but like once you win, that's when you can be like, see, I proved you wrong. Like you're not like oh in their face and all that, but like just win confidently and train confidently, lose confidently and win confidently.
yeah. Humble in defeat.
Yeah, humble in defeat, but humble in victory as well.
Mm,
That's hard. It's
that's the
hard.
hard bit.
It is
But
hard
yeah, proving people wrong for me has got to be up
because
there.
defeat is humbling. Like you,
Oh yeah, you yeah. Like it's hard to not hang your head down in front of people.
yeah, 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 for sure. I think it's a very humbling thing.
Like everyone's like, oh, there's no such thing as losing, only learning. But you do lose, and you do have to learn from it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
It's
there's nothing can stop you from feeling the emotions of getting smoked in a race
yeah,
or like losing
yeah, yeah. Like
because you've put so much into it and then you don't and you lose.
yeah, there's been plenty of things that like I've like 100% lost at and I've been annoyed by, and so I get that. Like there's many things, there's many competitions that I've tried and I've just lost. Like I lost one a couple weeks ago, so it's not like, and I didn't. I think I could have won it. But I learnt out of it. Like yeah, I needed to stay focused a bit more and whatnot. And so yeah, there's just so many factors that you got to learn out of it. But yeah, as I said, being humble and to go back to the main point, not being confident over arrogant is being humble in victory. I think.
Mm. Yeah,
I think that's a good way to put it.
that's a good way to put it. It's a great way to put it.
Is that a good way to end it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
What was say that again? Say that as like the title.
humble in victory. That's not
Humbling.
gonna be the title because I'm not a victor yet.
Oh yeah. But like it's a good way to finish.
It's a good way to finish, but yeah, I
It's
mean,
a good closer.
yeah, this was very. I mean, I talked a lot on this episode. Because I mean, it was kind of like a bit of an interview, not an interview, but a deep dive into me. And then the next episode is going to be a deep dive into fourth row over here.
Yep.
And I will be. It's not an interview, but I would kind of.
Well, it turned out to be an interview.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone.
That's before the blow up.
Don't forget to like and
Shut
subscribe.
up. Shut up. We don't want to become a sheep and conform to the subscribe and like and hit
Hey,
the
no, there's
notification
nothing
bell.
wrong with that.
Yes.
You become a sheep. You become a sheep and subscribe to us.
No, don't.
Do it.
No.
Hey, now how are you
that
telling
makes
them?
us becoming a sheep.
No, how are you telling them not to subscribe?
No. Do what you want.
No,
You have
subscribe.
free will. God gave you free will, and you can choose what you want to do. Subscribe to us or not.
Subscribe.
Stop being a sheep. We don't want to be like every other. Dude, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Leave a like, a thumbs up, and a comment.
I'm just ending it there.
Yeah, end it there. Done. Do what you want, people.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Cruising.